Everybody here has heard of Black Wall Street, right? And before I continue, make sure you comment tour and comment your city and where I will see you in this renaissance. So everybody heard of Black Wall Street, and we all got the narration of Black Wall Street the same. A city where black people had built up, and essentially it was destroyed. That's the story of Black Wall Street. That's the story you were told, right? That's the story I was told, correct? But how come nobody told you that 100 years ago, after this 19-year-old boy in the elevator was accused of sexually assaulting a white girl, and they used that as an excuse to storm the town and go murder 300 plus people that were living in economic prosperity because of their jealousy? How come nobody told you that they rebuilt it? How come nobody told you that they rebuilt it? Years later, in 1925, they rebuilt Black Wall Street. More hotels, newspapers, etc. And this was about, without any help from the government, without any assistance from insurance, things of that nature, they rebuilt in 1925. They rebirthed Black Wall Street. They even had a parade. They had a parade to show their resilience, that they cannot be broken. They had a reawakening. Nobody ever tells you that story because they don't want you to know that you've always been your own hero. That in times of great despair, you show up for yourself. That you never needed anybody outside of yourself. But they left that out. And it's 100 years later, and some of you all are just learning about this for the first time. The stories we tell ourselves matter more than anything because it becomes the story we live out. So why learn about Black Wall Street? Trauma, pain. But you don't hear about their triumph and victory. You don't hear about a story of survival, resilience, and wealth building. You just hear a story of victimhood. What do you thought they did? Just laid down and cried? And if they can rebuild after going through the actual trauma, not hearing about a story of it, not being afraid of, if they can rebuild after planes was dropped on them, bombs were dropped on them by their own government, and years later they take to the streets with the same U.S. flag, with their own flag, in a parade, and they say, listen, y'all can't break us. We here. I just want y'all to know that we here. See, when we used to march back in the day, the marches was not about asking for something. The marches was about us showing up for ourselves. Now that's a story of inspiration. That's a story of from the fire and the ashes, the Phoenix story. A reawakening. It's a story of shedding and then coming back, rebirth even better. We have to change the stories that we tell. Because the story of the past that we have in our mind controls the story of the future that we live in reality. That's why we have to start operating off ancestral principles and ancestral resilience that we have within our spirit. Even though we're living in one of the most dangerous times to be alive, of economic calamity, spiritual collapse, right? Mental stagnation. But in dark times is where we do the best. It's where we shine. That's what we was made for, times like this. But I need to see the artists reawaken. I need to see the artists create. I'm not seeing us create enough. We're consuming more than we're creating, and it's destroying our joy. You feel good when you creating. When you was a child and you were drawing something, you wanted to show somebody. No matter what you did when you were a child and you were creating and imagining, that's when you felt your best. And as an adult, somehow, you started consuming more than you creating one day. And you start consuming as a coping mechanism for a lack of joy because you stop creating and you stop feeding your soul. Creativity and being a creator is what makes us feel alive. The Harlem Renaissance is a period of expansion when the artists utilized art as a form of resistance to tell their own stories. We've seen an expansion in poetry and philosophy and meaningful art, different styles and representation of how they felt. In today's time, we're not seeing that. The artist is uninspired or too busy and distracted chasing a bill. We got access to all the tools in the world, but we're not utilizing them in any revolutionary capacity. This is what we need to focus on, a reawakening of that spirit. If our ancestors could not just hear about the story of Black Wall Street burning, but experience it in real time and rebuild, what stops you? What stops you? Tell me. The devil hates when I destroy the excuses that he planted in your brain. Because he knows when you have no other excuses, you gain clarity. And from that clarity, you have a vision of knowing exactly what to do. If I can wish anything for you, I will wish you clarity. I wish you clarity. I wish that when you wake up in the morning, you know exactly what to do and your brain is clear. I wish you clarity in your business, that you know exactly what to do and you're doing it willfully. I wish you clarity in your mind. You know how to think and you're not distracted by over scrolling and temptation and problems and people and drama in the world and news cycles. I wish you clarity on knowing exactly who you are and operating from that place of knowing and not ignorance. I wish you daily clarity, that you will reawaken and you operate in this time of renaissance, because that is the time that we're living in. This experience of this renaissance, and I'll let you all know before I even make a flyer, I'm bringing somebody on the tour with me to help share in this renaissance as we're pushing this wellness renaissance to bring clarity to people on how you move as a family, economically, spiritually, physically, mentally, financially, and cosmically. But I can't do this all on my own. So this is not a me tour. This is a we. So I called my brother Yaki, and he said he's going to be there 4 cities with me on tour, including the last one in London. My brother Yaki awakened. And I'm so happy to have him with me, right? And there's going to be even more people, but we had to do that one right there. We both come from a city that's broken. We come from places that's broken. But we've dedicated our lives to repairing ourselves and helping repairing the culture. I need to see all of you all there, but when you show up, don't show up regular. See, the Renaissance, we was fly. We had new fashion, new style. We dressed with a level of dignity. We didn't dress like the world was ending. We were dressing like our world was beginning. Don't dress like the news. Don't dress like we're in this time of death and destruction. Dress for the occasion. And what's the occasion? They was fly. They was in their suits. They was clean. They was polished. They was smelling good and looking good as they walked in. It felt like they was walking to heaven. Don't let them get you down. It's that time. When you wake up in the morning, I want you to clean your face, clean your nails, get your feminine hygiene together. You know what I mean? Go press your clothes, get ready for that day, and you're walking into your clarity, reclaiming yourself and reawakening, and ready to not just hear, learn, and experience, but to transform that day. To have extreme clarity on what to do in the market, what to do with your family, what to do with your body, what to do with your mind. How to set yourself up in a time where it feels like the future is rushing us. This is about being prepared for the time that we're living in and showing up to save ourselves. Together, of course. They didn't make the movie, so we're going to make the movie. I will have many different announcements that we're going to be making on this tour. But I want y'all to understand what this is for and why we're doing it. The Boule don't like us. These institutions, when I was in London and we did Royal Albert Hall and I was just looking at a lot of that footage, I said, man, at that time I really thought that some of the elder generation to really see what we're doing and hold on to it and be like, man, I want to help. I want to help y'all build. I got the resources, I got the capital for you. What do you need? When that didn't happen, and when unity didn't happen instantly, and we didn't see our power from when we got 5,000 people showing up in a stadium to have talk about economic prosperity, and I felt like the culture didn't respond the way I thought that they should. There was critique on what we could do better and not do, but there wasn't partnership. And I said, man, maybe we ahead of our time. Maybe we just not ready. And I was looking at this study in Harvard where they were showing that young black men, right, out of all cultures, we have a lack of sponsorship and mentorship from the elder generation. So when older black men get in position, they don't often sponsor or mentor. So you have a lack of access, a lack of proximity, and a lack of capital to grow and build. I'm not talking about other races doing something for us. We have a lack of our own doing something for us. Unless it is extremely beneficial to them. And that's just capitalism. That's not culture or community. So this is why I'm proud of the streamer generation, because they're working together. They're collaborating. They're saying no to deals that their partner can't get into the red carpet or can't get in on a deal. They're sharing equity with each other. Right? They're giving each other the knowledge in the game. And I don't know if y'all knowing this, like this is that generation that will succeed because they're working with each other, not against each other. And of course, they're not perfect. But no generation is. But each generation is polishing the flaws from the last. But they need the wisdom of the previous to know what mistakes not to make, so that they don't get blindsided by their own success thinking that they know more than everyone. That's why we really want a lot of the young people to show up. Give you that guidance on how to move, how to think, how to build. This is why I took my courses that was worth $4,000 plus, and I said people can have them at $44. Why? Because I'm not trying to gatekeep nothing. That's not my job to continue to teach those things. You can have it. But it's still up to you to execute. So take advantage of it, please. I gave people access to it for $44. If you don't do it at that price point, I can't do anything for you. If you don't execute, I can't do anything for you. But I can't make it more clear than that. Because this is really not the time for people who are still on the fence about things. It's time for people who are ready to move forward. This is 2025. We're not recruiting. We're not trying to convince you of anything. Either you're ready or you're not, but we still gonna go. And I've been doing this for years, a long time now. I've made millionaires from the same information that I'm giving away. Because those are the people that decided to execute. Now, the things that I was teaching is becoming a new norm. The model that we blueprinted as a creator, as a leader, as a thought leader becomes the new norm. Building the community, doing the video, the audio podcast, building meaningful connections with the people, traveling around, touring, having your products. We're focusing on world building versus marketing and advertisement, right? Those becoming the new blueprints that everybody's following. The wellness renaissance, now everybody's doing adaptogens and nootropic mushrooms. This is nothing new. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. We've been the blueprint. So, did we predict the trend or do we create the wave? I'll let you decide. Either way, we was there before it came. Now, I see the new renaissance. I see clarity as a rarity in this time and day and age where most people don't have time to do any real deep thinking. And without that, you don't have a future. So I'm going to need y'all to focus. I'm going to need you to pay attention. I'm going to need you to execute. I'm going to need you to block out the noise and get real clear about your life, about your plans, about your future. Make sure y'all comment tour. Go to 19keys.com/tour. For those who still want the bundle pack, comment bundle. You'll get access to all our 3 ebooks, plus whatever else they threw in there. You get access to the behind the scenes. You get access to all of the crypto tokenomics. You're going to get access to the gold content, how to create gold, not create gold, but where to buy gold, right? You know, how to set yourself up with it. You're going to get access to the learning how to learn, because in this era, a lot of people can't learn. So when they get new information, it doesn't feel valuable to them because they're not ready for it. And if you're on YouTube, go to my Instagram and DM me the word bundle so you can get that as well. And there's a multitude of other things, and you get access to our community so that you can be a part of the chat as well. In that community chat, we have a room, right, that's specific for wins when you execute. If you didn't know, they're preparing, right, and I've already prepared for crypto to take over as the new digital asset class. Gold is going to continue to go up as a preferable asset. And on my tours, I gave people the blueprint, exactly how we're going to execute and what we're going to do, right? And why it was very important. So you guys better get that bundle pack, sit down with your family, listen, learn, create your plan, right? Because we are in a time of emergency. When I used to say this, people say, you fear mongering. Now it's just the news. I was preparing. You're not too late, but you will be. And so I appreciate everybody that got these things at a la carte prices at $444. Some people paid $200 for some. Some people paid $100 over here, right? Because I just said, forget it. We're going to bundle it all together. I want you to be prepared by the time you show up on the tour. You're not asking the same mundane questions. You're ready for that next level, that cosmic knowledge. I don't want to have to be teaching the same thing over and over and over and over. I'd rather you get it now, because it's either now or never.